Welcome, everybody, to the Salesforce Field Service office hours. My name is Leigh-Anne Nugent, and we are going through enhanced scheduling and optimization today. So I've got up here our ways of working and who this is for. So join us if you're interested in digging into Salesforce Field Service. We're a group of people who really like the field service domain. There's a lot of puzzles that you can solve. It's like a forever puzzle that you'll never solve. But the product changes all the time as well. So that's another puzzle that we have to solve as well. So we're here to deeply understand the tool so that it can then help us solve the field service problems. So enhanced scheduling and optimization. I do have the manual up because I don't like reading the manual. Oh, it's Pearl. Pearl's joining. Hey, Pearl, great to see you.
Hi, nice to see
Hi,
you too.
nice. Yeah, long time no see.
How are you?
I am good. Thank you. Thanks for joining. And Mark's here. Hey, Mark. Welcome
Hello.
back. Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
talking about enhanced scheduling and optimization. And in true Salesforce fashion, it doesn't really work the first time you spin it up. So that's when you pull up the the documentation to see what might have gone wrong. So I've got them all up here. So we'll be bouncing back and forth. I have two environments that I've been playing with. This one that we're seeing here is a Trailhead environment. And my goal here was to say, hey, with a Trailhead environment, you should be able to spin up Salesforce Field Service beginning to end in order to use this as either a really quick demo environment or to quickly brush up your skills. So we're meeting together for 2 months every week to get that environment beginning to end stood up. And here are some of the blockers that I'm facing. In this Trailhead org, I can't log into my mobile app. I don't know why. No matter what I do, I can't log into the mobile app. So I gave up on that and I spun up a sales demo org, which is available to partners. And the partner sales demo org is great because, oh, where is that? Oh, it's over here. Is great because I have a ton of licenses. Yeah, like an incredible number of licenses. And it's got all the Agentforce stuff. So it's a really great environment to play in. But the challenge is I'm getting an Apex 404 error here when I try to use ESO. So it works okay for lightning scheduling, like the classic lightning optimization. But of course, it doesn't work for ESO. So that's the sad thing. So I'll show you the error that I'm getting here. In fact, I'll go through some of the like prerequisite stuff that we did here because then you'll see it. I have a number of service appointments that were created here, and that is because we installed and we love this. This is another issue that I have. So let me just like back out of here. The field service data generator package. Favorite this package. It is excellent because when you have it installed, it will create like up to in batches, I think 99 records of work orders with the service appointments, and the work type can be randomized and it can be for a single service territory or a randomized set of territories. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like in here. It gives you an app. So if you look up generator here, you would see a field service data generator here. And then you get this really great component. And the component that you can create, let's just try 100. I don't know if it'll create 100, but you can do work orders with line items. So maybe I want to say 2 line items per work order. You can randomize the work types, which I love.
Nice.
And you can also randomize the territories. So I did not randomize the territory for my first batch because I know that my people are in the San Francisco territory. Just for kicks, I do want to show you how this part works. The priority, you can randomize that too. Because one thing that's cool about enhanced schedule optimization is you want to understand how the priority influences what gets scheduled first. Oh, here comes Bruce. Yes, I can totally increase the font size. I can zoom in. I don't know about font size. Let's see. Thanks, Pearl. Hey, Bruce, are you here? There you are. Yes. Present. Bueller. So I'm just walking through the data generator piece because this is the fun package that's recommended to install in order to try enhanced scheduling and optimization, or just optimization in general. So whether or not you get to ESO is like another thing, but if you're just trying to learn how optimization works, this is the best tool.
This is
Um,
Simon's
mhm,
thing, right?
this is Simon's thing, yeah. I've randomized the account as well. Some of these features I don't enable. I don't really play with these ones. So I always just leave that. And I leave the work type on the work order, partly because I like the model of one work order to one service appointment. There are some customers who like the service appointments on the line item, but I'm leaving it as work order. And then I don't touch anything here. So really the ones that I work with are these ones on the top. The next one that I do is the territory proximity. So my hand is up for some reason. President. I don't know how to turn that down. Hold on, let's see. Oh, my hand's going to be up forever. Can I lower it? Weird. Lower hand. There you go. Okay. So there are a couple of scenarios that we find with field service scheduling. You could have something really dense, like a lot of appointments clustered in a really small proximity, or you could have some that are really large. So we have the most recent one that Bruce and I had was they were really dense in a small proximity. So we really wanted to see how the travel would route itself every single day. Would it condense with minimized travel? Would it condense all of the deliveries or the routes into one area of the territory, or will it spread itself across? I've had another project where the territory was so large that they actually couldn't get to that territory. They almost needed to split that territory into two, because when they would work the 50 miles away or 100 miles away, they would end up staying the night. So it's like that traveling salesperson or a traveling service person. They would stay the night in that area and then work that area for 2 days or 3 days and then drive back. So depending on what the scheduling pattern is, create the territory address to, fit that scenario. I'm going to just do 10 miles. And then the earliest start and due date, I usually just leave it at a month. And then I leave all of this stuff. I do not auto schedule because that's what I want optimization to do. And I usually just leave this all blank. And then you would just press generate data, and all of the work orders, there's like a component that's added here. I've got an error, cannot execute a trigger. Is multi-day. Okay. So there's some trigger here for a multi-day job that it didn't like. So let's see, did it even create any? We would have to open up this whole component here and just scroll down because it created them. Because I only had 50 the first time and now I've got way more. Okay.
Can you tell us how long the appointment should be?
It's based off of the randomized work type. There I go with my hand up again.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it depends on the work type. So let's look at field service. Here's where I got blocked. Actually, let's go through the standard setups that we have to do. So in setup, now I better do field service. Okay. We have enhanced field service scheduling and optimization enabled here. And we also have to create the permissions for it. So this field service integration is required. So we have to turn these on first. Then we have to go to the manage package. And then we have to check the permission sets here to validate that the integration permissions that is fresh and created. So we'll go to permission sets.
I'm peeking at an old internal doc you wrote about this. It's also baby steps. Ensure that your service territories are geocoded. Because if you're saying go within 5 miles of whatever, if there's no lat long on that thing, you're not going to get a within.
Nice. Okay. So we'll check that too. Okay.
Can you share it, Bruce?
Yeah, I'll share that in just a second. Like share what do you want him to share?
That documentation he found it in.
This was your Confluence, Leigh-Anne, that you put together about.
Oh, I see.
Tool. Yeah.
Okay. I wrote something internally, Mark.
Okay.
So field service integration, this is up to date. Now, there is some magic that happens in the background, okay? So when we check settings and we look at the permission sets, there's a field service integration user. This field service integration was created by an automated process. So when I take a look at who this is assigned to, it should be assigned to a platform integration user. I don't know who this is. I don't know how this got assigned. This is platform magic. We can't see this. Okay, it's just one of those things where you have trust and faith. Let's take a look at, the other thing we have to check is remote site settings. There's documentation here that speaks to documentation. Here you are. It's saying in this configure remote site settings, it's saying to create it. I'm like, that's weird. We don't need to create it. It's more, sorry, I'm looking at right here. Okay. So in this main, I'll link this documentation here. This is the main documentation that I've been looking at.
Q.
So we enabled it. We created the required permission sets. We checked whether it's, now we're going to check whether it's configured in remote site settings. So I don't know where, in one of these steps here, it said to create the remote site settings, but we don't need to create them anymore because it gets created. It just might not be active. Somewhere down here, it said it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where I saw that, but I found that strange. So let's just go into the remote site settings here, and then you'll look for all of the FSL. So if we ever want to experiment with bundler or capacity limit, we would have to activate it. Okay, that's part of the setup for those capabilities. So we're not going to dive into that yet. I want to make sure that this all works. So every single one of these in my Trailhead org and in my SDO, these were inactive. So I did the GIS, the Google Maps, all of these O2 ones, all of this optimized ones. I did do this geocoding one, but this is not, we don't need this. But I did it anyways, just in case. And same thing with this Google Maps API. I just made sure it was on just in case. But a lot of these items, this is again the sales demo org, so we don't really need these items. So every single one. So all I did was I just edited it and I just clicked the activate or the active button and then saved it. That's it. It's a fun little thing to do, to open every single one and tick the box and close it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a wrist exercise.
Yes, exactly. All right. So then I checked if point-to-point predictive routing was turned on in field service settings. So that's back here under field service settings, under scheduling, and then routing. Okay. So my street level routing is turned on. I've got point-to-point turned on. So because I've been getting this error, I'm like, oh, how about I turn it off and turn it on again? And I did that and it didn't really work, but we do have to validate that it's on. So yes, it's on. And then, so we don't need to do this step anymore. However, I'm going to do what Bruce was saying and just validate that the territories do have an address and that they're geocoded. So I'm saying we don't need to do that anymore because I can now turn on. Oh gosh. In one of these areas, I have an optimization logic. I bet you it was in that other one. There's an optimization for enable optimization for all territories. There. So use and enhance scheduling and optimization for all service territories. So we can turn this on. And that means that there's a tick box that you can have on a service territory record that would make sure that that territory only is active for ESO. Now that's a good way to experiment between some territories you might not want it and some territories you do. But for my case, I just want the darn thing to work. So I'm trying to just do as much configuration or as little configuration as possible. And then the territories. So let's take a look at my data. Oh, I don't have it there. Weird. At the very minimum, I do want this guy. So it's 1 Market Street. It does look like the internal SLR is there, but I'm going to just check my inspector. I think is this the inspector reloaded that I have? It must be because that's got deactivated, didn't it? Okay, so latitude is populated and so is longitude. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's a good catch. Let's just check to see if I have to do anything else.
Does it need to be on each and every one or just some of them?
I right now care about that one territory, so it should be on every single one of them if you want to be able to calculate travel.
No, I mean, does it check all of them? It's all or nothing that needs to be preset. Doesn't matter which one you work on right now. Because you said you checked the box that says run enhanced optimization on all territories. On all territories. So does the system check that all of them have it in order not to throw the error, or one is enough?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. We can see. We can check that.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't trust them. That's why I'm asking.
I know. And that's why I say, I don't know yet. We're going to have to let the system tell us.
All right.
Okay. So it is controlled by the territory. Some territories can be enabled while others aren't based off of your rollout strategy. So yeah, that's what I did here. I am not doing this right now. Once we get the thing working, we can go into running a background job. So you can create a batch job. It's very similar to what we saw with regular optimization, where you can schedule a job at a certain time. And yeah, that's this actually, when it works really well, you just have to be mindful of limits. We'll get into limits in just a minute, or maybe like towards the back half of this call. And I'm not going to do anything for designated work right now. And yeah, I'm trying to not have I'm trying to limit the complexity in the scheduling as possible just to get it warmed up, if you will. We want to show how it works without adding the constraints. And then you can add in additional scheduling constraints like designated work. Like, for example, I'm only going to do installs on Tuesdays, and service is only on Wednesdays, but any other day we can do anything, whatever the designated work would be. I'm going to do that later. Okay, this one in the service resource availability work rules, these two fields have to have a value in it. I think, Bruce, can you help me remember this? I think that we've had it blank in the past, like in scheduling, but there's something, I don't know, either it doesn't work or we get an error or something if those values are empty. So double check that. And so if you want to reproduce any travel is good, the recommendation is put something like 500 minutes, because who's really going to travel 500 minutes? That's probably a good ceiling.
So the old trick, if it doesn't work anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You have to have something in there. Okay. What else? Okay. Customizations. Now, I'm in a sales demo org. Could there be customizations in that org that's preventing this from working? Maybe. So that's why I'm like, I'm going to bounce between this and my Trailhead org and see the difference. But this is where I think maybe I'm stuck, but we'll see. Yeah, same thing with batch processes. We want to be mindful of how much is being processed in a job together. So that's like an advanced use case, so we won't go into that. Okay, so right, here we go. If the field service integration user needs access to other fields, we have to update that permission set to include those values. So meaning to say, when you are optimizing for like any job, I'll just click this optimize button and I'll show you. We can optimize for a single territory. And I could also say only optimize jobs that have same day criteria, or only optimize jobs that are in jeopardy. So you can create custom fields on the service appointment record to help constrain the scope of service appointments that you want to qualify for optimization. There might be some jobs that require a white glove service, and we would never want to just put them on the board. Like, we want to actually call the client ahead and make sure that the timing works for them. There might be some sort of process. So you would want to exclude those from the optimization scope. So I think that's what it means by making sure that this integration permission set has access to any custom fields that are being referenced in the scheduling logic. Okay. Taking off travel modes, taking off all of these really cool features. And I loved the travel mode because if there's like a commercial truck that you're working on or you want to avoid toll roads, it's very cool. Sliding was also cool because like it could scooch an appointment if there was space and then just make room for another appointment. Flexible breaks was also awesome because before, the break was like, you would say the break start is at 11 o'clock until 11:30. But what if I start my day at 11 o'clock? So I'm going to take my break at 11 o'clock when I started my shift at 11 o'clock. That's weird. So this feature is awesome because then it could say 4 hours after your shift starts, that's when you have your break. Pretty cool. And you can have up to 3 breaks in a day, depending on whatever the schedule is.
I think holidays are like an unsung hero of ESF because people can sneak onto the board months in advance. If it's open and there's any sense of like self-serve scheduling, if there's availability, people can grab it. And you sometimes lose sight of those days that are months out. But this way, very planned, you set up the holidays in the back office, you add them to the op hours. That's a little bit of a drag. But once they're in there and those op hours are on the territory, it shows up as non-available, which is cool.
Very cool.
Right.
We used to have to do an import of those resource absences for whatever the holidays were. And then, of course, when you import, it always takes the time zone into context of the system time zone. So if somebody's in Pacific time zone, you're like, why are they unavailable at 11 o'clock at night the day before? And then it kind of offsets in a wrong way. So that was always fun. You always would have to like do the offset calculation in your spreadsheet before importing it. So much better than that. Yeah, you're right. Just like the unsung hero for sure is the holidays. So we're not enabling that right now. Let me show you just where that is, because you would have to configure that on the operating hours page layout. And I would have Eastern, whatever. I'll just pull up field availability for San Francisco. So there's now a new related list here, and you can set up the availability for this particular operating hour. And again, it is cool because it inherits it based off of the time zone of those operating hours. But you do have to set up the holiday for every single operating hour that you have, which means if you saw in this org, like, holy smokes, that's 22. You may not need it for all of them. And you might just need it for just like the one that actually takes scheduling into consideration. So that could save. Okay, let's just quickly see if there's anything else that I needed to do. Fine tune. Fine. All right. You enable it.
Yeah, one
Yeah, go
more
ahead.
little nerdy thing. So
Mhm.
don't forget, if you do have resources you don't want included, there is that fun little checkbox on the resource that says include in scheduling optimization, yes or no. But that checkbox in and of itself does not do anything. You have to make a work rule, a match Boolean work rule that says, is that true? Include them.
Okay. Yes. Totally forgot about that. So your scheduling policies, like active resource, like value is true, right? Like you would think that that is good enough for making sure that Alan Reed is included in enhanced scheduling optimization, but that's a good one. Thank you for that reminder. Oops. Oh, great. I totally closed it.
I thought it's on the resource availability. Or am I confusing?
So we have to actually create a work rule. So looking at resource availability, no, this is just the
Nothing.
travel.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that one's also like a magic thing where it's just, are they available? Is there anything assigned to them? Yes or no? But
Okay.
yeah, we would have to create one is available for enhanced. I don't know what finish means.
That you
Oh,
have to
scheduled
finish by
start is
that
before.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make sense because if you think about it, you could create a bunch of complex scenarios and match against them.
True. Yeah. So yeah, you would have to create a new rule that is like just a Boolean, match Boolean.
Yep.
And then you would select, oops. Oh, you have to go to the field set.
And add it as,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you do not have to do this now, but if you wanted to include some people and exclude others, that checkbox alone is not your friend.
Yeah.
You have to make a rule that says, look at that checkbox.
Yeah.
And in order
So-
for the role to see that checkbox, you need to put it in this skill set.
Exactly.
Correct.
And some things
Is the
just never die.
Yeah. I think the work rule field sets. Where was that work rule? Service resource?
I think you actually have to edit the pick list field on the work rule. Yeah, it's maybe not worth digging into right here.
I just want to resource property is a pick list value. You put the API name in the pick list value, and then it's available.
Yes. Yeah. So some things are field sets, some things are on the work
That's
rules
what I had to
field
do.
themselves.
So, okay, cool. Yeah. And then once you add that pick list value, it will appear here. Cool. Thank you. Good remembering. All right. So, error time. I just want to press the candidates button and I want the darn thing to work. And I'm getting this 404 error. And I wasn't getting the error. If I disable ESO, I don't get the error. So there's something not working. So here's how I'm checking. Finding candidates, I get this error. Drag and drop. It bounces off the record. It doesn't schedule, and then I get the 404 error. And then I'm supposed to contact my admin, and somehow I'm supposed to just know what that is. Fun times. So this is where I did all the work and was like, okay, I guess I have to abandon this because I can't get this to work.
But any of those remote site settings you were showing, like anything that you sniff around and think maybe this has to do with it, they're all enabled in this one and you're fresh again after any of those changes?
All the remote sites, yes. And then the perms were okay. Nothing in that
Turn
checklist.
them
Like
all on. Leigh-Anne, just turn them all on. Everything that has a FSL prefix to it.
You think even all these like bundler things, like that shouldn't really matter.
Yes. It shouldn't, but again, remember, they tried to take a product and jam it into Salesforce, right? So we're not sure what the interconnections are.
Yeah.
It's a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I thought, okay, let's just go back to our trusty Trailhead org and Trailblazer org and just try it all out in here. And it works. So I have a singular one. Okay, now here's the blocker that I had here. So let's see if the minds on this call can help me with this. Why can I not install this darn thing in my Trailhead org? There's a brave bear there, but my cunning fox is not there. So no matter what I do, I've been like troubleshooting this for half an hour before our call.
And what does it say into this show more?
Yep. So then I go more info. I'm like, okay, great. So we show all the accounts that are linked and have the manage billing permission. Sweet. Okay. Yes.
Have you tried getting it to the point where it is installing in one of those and just copy the tail end of the URL? And you know,
What do you mean?
these other orgs that it's showing you, like the list that you just and Eric Smith recently told me to
my gosh, there's a hack.
Well, I don't know. That get it now is for prod and try it free is for sandbox.
Okay.
And so you're maintaining that get it now includes your org. So that's a good one you have access to and can get to. I would hit that and let it keep going. You may not want it there, but if it shows you something good, yeah, you agree, whatever. Like usually when it's who do you want to install for, an admin or everybody or whatever, I would let this settle when it's redirected. And
right here, we're redirecting you to the login page.
Yeah. So like after that, when it lands in the who do you want to install it for, admins, everybody, whatever, copy the tail end of that or of that URL. I don't know if it's from the listing ID onward, but yeah, get it logged in somewhere that it's really going to work. And I would say copy the tail end and paste it over the beginning of the URL of the org you really want it in.
I think you need to log in first.
But I want to log into the org that I want to install. Yeah. Now I'm in Cutting Fox.
Okay. So remind me later. Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah, you proceeded with an org it let you get to and just logged into your org.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Maybe it's that
That's the
billing
best.
thing, right? Like it doesn't.
Oh no, I totally checked the billing thing. And I'm a system admin. I saw that thing.
But maybe there is like no billing in a Trailhead org. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, while I have this page up, there is an event that's going to talk about scheduling and optimization for field service. I totally signed up for it. It's like tomorrow or something. Yeah, tomorrow. So you can see McCaskey and Rachel Hawley. I'm not really sure who this gentleman is from Sweeping Corp of America, but that's cool that they've got a customer in there. But it'll be nice to hear how it's working out on the streets.
Can you share it as well? I'll see if I can.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Oh, you did. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, show me the money. Oh my God. Praise all gods. Bruce, you are my hero as usual.
All I said was, don't do what it says. What to do.
As we do. Ignore as we do. Exactly.
So looking at this though, Simon's Forum, you were saying you primarily ignore a lot of this stuff. And a lot of it is like randomize this or set that. I do sometimes set fields lower right, what SA fields are set to true. Even if it's set it in jeopardy, because that's if you're mixing and melding in an org, things that were scheduled in some normal behavior and things that you scheduled with this tool, I wanted to scream out, we just made a bunch of garbage and maybe we want to unmake it real quick. So I would maybe set something. And if it's even a checkbox that says created by the mass data.
I've been doing that as like a custom Gantt label. I've done that before, but this is a good idea because then this is at least like a quick flag.
Yeah. And Jeopardy is like so many people's friend, they don't even know is there. But that's the thing that I would do that as you were talking through it, that you skip over these. It's sometimes a good idea. Give yourself a flair because when you come back and look at it, I think the way it makes them, right? It's randomizing that lat long around that point. You don't get a street, city, state, and you might be losing your marbles going, well, they all come in from some form. How do we have appointments with no street, city, state? Like you have them because you made them randomly. And
and it is a proximity to like based off of that geocode. So yeah, you're right. Okay. That's a good one. I like that. Okay. So I just did the Gantt for now because I don't have any custom booleans. The last project that we were on, the number of booleans that we created, it was like even cascading and like dependent on each other. Does it qualify from a timing perspective? Yes. Does it qualify from an inventory perspective? Yes. Does it qualify because it's a Tuesday? Yes. How about we're feeling good today? Yes. So we had all these formula fields that were like dependent on each other to have one master okay to optimize field. And it was a pretty funny way of just like segregating the scope of essays. So yeah, you can create tons of booleans. We had, I don't know, it felt like a dozen, right, Bruce?
Well, funny in the rear view. Then came the time, seriously, we had to change the scope of the territories and there was no time to actually bite that off. So we, through some formulas, we were like, is this in the lower left part of this territory? Is this in the upper right? And basically chunked out the optimization that way without redrawing anything. We were able to get smaller bite-sized things with booleans you're talking about and literally using formulas like look at that polygon or whatever and slice that thing up.
Okay, let's execute an optimization job. There are multiple ways that you can launch an optimization job. What we found to be the one thing that we could at least control just to, again, see what it was doing. And we wanted to set the dates that we wanted to schedule these appointments for. We found this button to be quite friendly. In the field service settings, of course, let me back out. Let me duplicate this. In the field service settings, we have the ability to view global jobs. And we like global jobs because that's the set it and forget it. And every day at a given period of time, you can have a job that's scheduled. This is a regular optimization job. So I'm going to just kill that and I'm going to create a new one. And it's going to be ESO test. Automator is enhanced. And now you've got this cute little pill here. So let's expand this. Now, the big difference between the two, right? When you launch this, you're getting what territory do you want to optimize for? Is it one time or is it recurring? Now we've got 3 tabs in this global optimization job, where first it's what's the time period? And when we say what day to what day, this is actually tomorrow. Today is 0. So if we want to optimize today and tomorrow, then it's 0 and 1. So there's a little bit of like brain breaking that happens with this time period calculation thing. Okay, I want to do it 7 days from now because I've already optimized day 1 to 7. It's a bit of a brain break, but you can even add like another time period. You could say today and tomorrow only, but then you could also say, then I want to schedule like next week for the week. So you could optimize 2 sets of date ranges to say today and tomorrow, as well as next week for the next 7 days.
Do you know if we can swap appointments between these periods?
Some appointments can swap. There's a setting that we would have to set. So under like under scheduling, I'll just kill that. Yeah. There's a reshuffling that you have to enable.
Slide and reshuffling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also it depends on what status is pinned. So if it's scheduled, it could pick up scheduled jobs and find something better. But I did reshuffling because I found that it was like it actually did the thing. So I don't normally turn that on to start. I just turn it on first to see like, where did it go? What did I expect? And then just kept re-optimizing to see, did it move? Did it try to make the schedule better? If I optimize the same set like 2 or 3 times. So that's one of those situations where you have to keep playing with it and then just see what happens. Yeah. Okay. So there's the job. So you'd have to remember to press the save button. That's why mine vanished. And let's expand it. So I'm just going to do 1 day. I'm going to choose Toronto. What's cool about this is that if you've got a number of sub territories, for example, like I've got Toronto, North, South, East, West, for example, you could have 4 sub territories. It is better to create a group of individual groups. So Toronto North, Toronto East, Toronto South, right? West, as 4 separate groups, because what happens is each one of these groups becomes its own optimization request. And that'll be important the moment that you start getting into high volumes, because each optimization request can't be larger than 2,500 service appointments. So you got to keep it small. And one way to keep it small is to break out your territories into smaller territories and then create a group for each one of the sub territories. And then here's the
How do you,
schedule.
again, allow the boundary crossing?
You don't. That's the challenge.
Yeah, that drags that mass back in there. Let's say I have one wandering technician and they might go through all those 4 territories that Leigh-Anne just mentioned. What they are doing and where they are on this day and what they are doing and where they are on that day are all records that it tries to send out with it to figure out the job, or who's really available has to then include reference to what's already going on in the other territories, which that could max out the number of records you're allowed to send out in an ESO request. You might not even get to ask ESO, can we schedule this, if it's bringing in too much neighborly data. And what I mean by what's already scheduled is day before and day after, right? Every day in that range you're trying to send out, everyone who might be a candidate, it tries to send out what were they doing the day before and what are they doing the day after.
So are we saying that with ESO, some boundaries on the large sets is not a thing?
It can nuke itself at volume.
Yeah. It can. I don't remember what the secret was to have my thing stick.
Maybe.
Oh, you know what it is?
It's the user type. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. So this is where the Boolean comes in, the formula field that Bruce and I were talking about. You could have 1 million of them. I'm just going to say all of them for now. And I'm going to just let this run to just see what it feels like. And then I'm going to show you what optimization looks like from here. Because this, I have to wait until midnight happens, or I don't really want to run it. I guess I could press the button run now, but I do want to show you what this looks like too. Okay. So Toronto, I'm going to do it for these 2 days. To make it faster, I'm only going to do unscheduled. But if you did scheduled and unscheduled, then yeah, I could pick things up and rearrange things. And I'm just going to leave all of these as standard and all types. One thing that's cool is the start and end date match what your dispatcher console date horizon looks like. So because I'm seeing the 3 days, that's why they're here. So if I'm going to just run it so that we can play with it. If I had 2 weeks, then I would be able to optimize 2 weeks.
All right.
Okay. And it throws it on the board. So I do like this way because you can actually see the whole thing like play out as we're sitting here working together. And it's in progress.
Demos.
It worked, right? Thank God. It's just not great because I only have one resource. So how much decision did it really have?
And it was quick, but up under the light bulb, don't you get you can see if someone else is using the Gantt and doing something at the time, you can see that. Once you get to go look at the requests themselves, there is some tailoring, that whole what do they call it? The optimization center or something, that tab you can put on here to see all.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah. The thing they don't give you out of the box, if it is really meaningful to you, was this a Toronto job? Was this a San Francisco job? There's nothing about the Opti request itself that screams that. It's down on like child records, and you can scrape that and through automation to get the label onto the request if it matters to you to keep them organized that way. But it's a shame that it's not labeled by the territory or territories you were doing here at this level.
So I usually
weren't you part of this board that Salesforce created, the field service board?
Yes.
Advisory board, whatever it is.
Yes.
Can you raise these ideas there?
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas that they have right now that it's just a very long backlog. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they're working on right now. So I haven't had an update in a while, but yeah, we're going to find out.
Let's see.
I haven't gotten any update yet on ESO. Let's see if I can. Everybody's been working on Agentforce stuff.
Yeah. One thing to remember to try and show is like how to get the data files, right? Because that's like digging way down in the dirt on this. But
Right. Right. Yeah. We could still spend a whole nother hour on this, I think, but we're seeing how much was scheduled. Looks like it's weird. It says only one. Oh, actually, because hold on. That's the original one. So now let's go to insights here. One resource totals. Right. So originally I started off with one appointment. After I have three, the total duration of work went from 240 to 720. Wrench time, percentage, utilization. That's okay, I guess. But yeah, that's the best way that I would say to run through it. But it does look like it only got one on the board because we couldn't squeeze another one in considering travel and all of that. So the jobs that I have or the work types that I have are just too long. But I guess that makes sense because I think all I have are install types. I don't know if I have work types that are smaller. Oh, I've got like a maintenance job, but I don't know. Did I have skills on
could,
here?
yeah, could you
Why
just take
didn't I
that
get skills?
could you just take that resources efficiency to
I think
something like that?
I didn't give my resource maintenance skill. And that's why. Yeah. Okay. Save. Let's see what happens. And we'll do one more job before the time runs out. All right. Let's optimize Toronto. Let's see what happens if we just do. I'm going to just optimize those that many days. And it is a lot faster when there is one resource. So we had one project where it was one resource per territory, but there were like 80,000 jobs. But it really, because there was only one resource per territory, it didn't take too long to run the optimization job. But the moment that you start having 5 or 10 service resources in a territory, it takes a really long time. And that's when you really want to start thinking like, maybe I need to have fewer people in the territories and create sub territories because anything above 10 really slows down the optimization.
So,
And if,
do they have recommendation on the number?
yeah, so they have a recommendation on the number. They did document a lot of limits and limitations like here. So they do have a lot. Look how much content they have here. So somewhere in here are all of those numbers. But yeah, like optimization, there's a lot of limitations.
I see.
Yeah. And the number of jobs you get, it's license dependent. So it depends on how many technicians you have. So if you have a high volume org, you may have to work with your account team to buy additional like licenses, but at a discounted rate. What do they call them? The name is escaping me.
The limited limited access,
Restricted use.
restricted
Use license.
RUL. Yeah.
Thank you. Good Lord. Oh, yay. Perfect timing. Oh, see, so that's interesting. It did pick it up, Mark. So if you notice,
Yeah, I see
like,
that. Can you
so
move the
that's
big ones
really good.
around?
Moved the big ones around.
Okay,
Actually,
so
that's
it's
a
not
really
just
good way to
consider-
see the difference. Yeah. So maybe the priority of this one was higher than the other ones, possibly. So that's where you would have to get into that. Okay, why did it move this one and keep this one on the board and not the other ones? So usually what I do is I would change the fields that are displaying on the hover, and that way I can quickly see, oh yes, the priority's high, things like that. But I just realized we're a minute over. Have to jump. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you being and doing this.
Yeah, I'm going to continue on like wrapping this up because the goal is Agent Force. So the team offered like an Agent Force package So my hope is that the SEO I can get working because there's no agent force in this org. And yeah, wish me luck. I'll send you a note if there's like technical issues.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Take care. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.